The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark. Hello, Wolfpack. We're back, and it's time we take a look at another special requested episode of the hit horror series R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. For bonus points, this episode is not only another fan favorite story, but another tale based off of a story from R.L. Stine's classic novel, The Nightmare Hour. Yep, we've got another adaptation of an original R.L. Stine story on our paws, but this time there's going to be only a few minor comparisons between the two, because this episode skews away from the book version quite a lot, to the point where fans consider this story very loosely based off of the original Nightmare Hour short. It's not too far off from the classic novel version, but it definitely feels different in the ending. We'll cross that bridge later, but let's get to the end of this introduction for now. Today's episode features a little girl going to a mysterious inn out in the forest where she'll discover some supernatural horrors. Does this episode demonstrate the greatness of The Haunting Hour, or does it fail to hold up today? Well, let's stop wasting time and find out. This is my review on The Haunting Hour episode, Nightmare Inn. So, our episode opens up on a long, empty road in the middle of a dark forest, where we see a mother driving with her daughter through the night fog. Oh man, I've seen so many Silent Hill stories start out like this. Let's just hope that Pyramid Head doesn't show up to save the day. We meet our main character, Jillian, a depressed little girl who lost her father a long time ago, and she suffers from horrific nightmares ever since, which will soon become an annoying plot point as we go along. Apparently, they're heading towards a dark place called the Nighttime Inn, because the mother inherited it from her deceased husband, and she's still negotiating for a new business contract to have full control over the building. On a side note, Jillian is played by the same actress who plays the emo girl Audrey from the episode Detention. Let's just hope that the twist is that she's not in a purgatory of some kind. Speaking of emo teens, we go through all the dialogue between the mother and Jillian on how it sucks that her dad is dead, but the mother tries convincing her that visiting the Nighttime Inn is a good change they need in their lives. Before the mother can fully act like a good parent, Jillian sees something on the road, causing the mother to swerve her car in a panic, but the two of them see nothing and just write it off as them imagining things. Yeah, as you can all correctly guess, they did see something out there, but whatever they saw is gone now. Boy, could you imagine if somebody did accidentally run over the supernatural character out there before the plot even started? So, the two women get to the obviously creepy Nighttime Inn, which looks vaguely like the farmhouse from The Walking Dead, but the mother mysteriously vanishes, while Jillian spots a monster. She quickly runs up to the hotel, and by quickly run, I mean saunter off slowly as possible, and she tries calling for help, but it seems that nobody is inside. While desperately looking for other people, she sees the hallway doors closing all by themselves. So unlike any real person who's on the run from a monster chasing after them, she explores the empty hotel despite the fact that it's clearly haunted, but becomes drawn to room 7B. When she checks it out, Jillian gets captured by an unseen monster. No, that's not what happens, because it turns out that it was all just a dream. Upon waking up, she sees her mother paying her respects to her dead husband, who died on this exact road a long time ago. While they both feel butthurt about the dad being dead, the mother tells how Jillian's silver necklace was the last gift her father ever gave her before he tragically passed away. Shouldn't Jillian know all this, since, it's her life, therefore her mother is just reminding her about everything her daughter just experienced recently? Why yes, Jillian does know this already, since she points that out to her mother, but the writers just needed a cheap excuse for exposition to point out that the silver necklace will be important later. So after paying their respects to the lost father, they drive back to the inn while a stranger watches them from afar. So they make it to the nighttime inn for real this time, and of course the hotel looks exactly how it does in Jillian's dreams. No joke, the inn is the exact same way as Jillian dreamed it was, despite her never seeing this place before at all in her life. The nightmare becomes reality. The mother tells Jillian that the nighttime inn is a special place to her because it's where she and the father went for their honeymoon, giving it significance for her since it's all she has left to remember her husband. We then meet the creepy hotel manager, Priscilla, who offers to take the two up to the inn by lantern light? Seriously, who still uses lanterns in this day and age? Oh, and just to hammer in how ominous Priscilla is, lightning strikes while she gives mysterious looks, even though there's no sign of a rainstorm at all. So when they enter the hotel, there's conveniently no power on, so Priscilla shows them to their rooms by candlelight. While guiding them, Priscilla takes an interest in Jillian's silver necklace. Ooh, foreshadowing. While wandering around, Jillian sees somebody in the dark hall, but nobody cares and they just ignore her. I'm sure you all would do the same. Priscilla shows that Jillian's room is room 7B, the same one from her nightmares. Ha, nightmare room jokes. While she attempts to sleep, Jillian begins to hear strange noises and feels like she's suffocating, forcing her to get fresh air. But we get our obvious jump scare moment where we see the monster outside her window, only to see that it was all just another dream. Yes, the dream sequences will keep coming back to the point of confusion soon enough. When she wakes up, Jillian realizes that her silver necklace is gone. The mom is unable to help her because she has to attend a meeting for the hotel, forcing Jillian to take care of this alone. Oh, thank you so much, writers. We finally have a real reason why the parents can't help out our kid hero. I know this is a minor complaint I have, but you all have no idea how relieved I am to see a parent having a reasonable excuse for not being available to help the kid hero in a story, and not just blatantly awful parenting. While alone, Jillian meets a guy named Caleb, a really creepy freak who takes a disturbing interest in our main character. The character Caleb is meant to be is James, from the original Nightmare in short. Yeah, I have absolutely no clue why they changed his name at all, since he's pretty much the exact same character as James in all but name. I guess the writers wanted to throw off all the people who've read the novel. That, or they just didn't think that James was as cool a name as Caleb for this troubled rebel without a cause. While the two are talking, we see that a stranger is watching them from afar. But in my personal opinion, I think that Caleb is the much more dangerous person to be alone with over the off-screen stalker, because this guy does absolutely nothing to hide how evil he is while obnoxiously hitting on Jillian. What's weird is that Jillian finds this guy charming, despite how freaky he is, because the all girls love bad boys cliche is clearly at work here. Seriously, people out there, would any of you find a guy like this to be attractive? Well, to his credit, he did burn a scarecrow all by himself, so clearly this guy does have some wicked skills. So Caleb asks Jillian to go out with him, and of course she accepts his invitation, because doesn't this look like a trustworthy face? They go out for a walk alone in the forest, where Jillian apparently trusts this creeper enough to tell him all about her tragic backstory. She informs Caleb and the audience that her father died in a car crash while passing through the dark forest, but his body was strangely never found by the police. However, she says that she got her silver necklace from her dad a day after he supposedly died. Spooky, right? And you all thought I was joking about this episode having some shoutouts to Silent Hill. Before Caleb can ask more about this, Priscilla tells Jillian that her mother's on the phone. While Jillian goes to talk with her mother over the phone, we see Caleb and Priscilla exchanging some ominous glares, implying great distrust.
What are you looking at, motherfucker?
Jillian is told by her mother that they're going to have to stay a little longer since her meeting is still going on, but Jillian is perfectly fine with that because she's totally into Caleb now. Yep, just like that, Jillian wants to stay because she has an interest in this creepy guy she only met a few hours ago. Well, I guess they had such great chemistry on that date where they talked about her dead father. True love indeed. She asks Priscilla her thoughts on Caleb, but she warns Jillian that Caleb is totally crazy and she needs to stay far away from him because he's dangerous. When Jillian goes back to her room, she's suddenly abducted by a stranger. Okay, that's not where it ends. It turns out that Caleb took her to tell Jillian that Priscilla is really the crazy one and she can't be trusted. You know, you probably could have told her all this without abducting her like a psychopath. Naturally, Jillian is a bit skeptical at first, but she starts to believe him when Caleb tells her that Priscilla steals things, making her remember that Priscilla was eyeing her silver necklace earlier. Caleb tries to sneak out through the window, but not before dropping a random swear word.
Trust me, she can make your life a living hell. Living hell. Living hell. Living hell.
Swear.
Yes, everyone, you really heard that. The Haunting Hour actually managed to sneak in a swear word on this family show. Wow, this is really earning the episode some serious bonus points for getting away with that. Especially because this episode is still in the first season. Praise to you, R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. Praise to you. So after Caleb leaves dropping a swear word to emphasize how serial he is, Jillian wanders around the hotel, finding a small marble outside of Priscilla's bedroom. And because Priscilla is an idiot who doesn't keep her door locked, Jillian easily breaks into her room to search through Priscilla's belongings, where she finds her lost silver necklace, making her realize that Caleb was telling the truth. However, we see that Priscilla and Caleb are apparently talking together while walking back upstairs to her room while loudly discussing Jillian. Wait. Hold on a second. Didn't Caleb just jump out of the second floor window from Jillian's room only 1 minute ago, but now he's somehow back inside the same building, walking up to the exact same floor he left from, now talking to Priscilla in a long conversation they only started a few seconds ago?
Great continuity!
Well, I guess Caleb and Corey both share super speed. Jillian hides from the two in the closet, where she overhears the two talking about her stolen silver necklace. She narrowly escapes from them through a boarded-up hole in the wall, where Priscilla almost locates her. She tries to use the phone to call for help, but she realizes that the phone line was cut. That night, she packs up her stuff to wisely get out of the inn while she still can, but Caleb shows up to try and trick Jillian into staying. However, Jillian is onto his tricks and points out how she saw him talking with his supposed enemy Priscilla behind her back, but he lies by saying that he was only talking with her to get the silver necklace back for Jillian. Naturally, Jillian no longer trusts Caleb's word and continues her packing. Caleb then tries romancing her again, but he gets drawn to the full moon in the night sky. Jillian denies his advances, but Caleb reveals that it's too late for her to leave now because he's turned into a werewolf.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, just like that, our villains are revealed to be werewolves. I'm surprised that wasn't your first theory. So, like an idiot, she tosses her silver necklace at him and runs away after he gets burned by the silver. Wow, glad to see that silver necklace you cared about so much didn't mean anything in the end since you threw it away so instantly. You truly cared about your father's last gift there, Jillian. However, she bumps into Priscilla and asks her for help. Yes, because of course the thief who stole her silver necklace is going to save her from the werewolf. But in a double plot twist, Priscilla is revealed to be a werewolf too. As she transforms, she tells Caleb to stay away because she told him earlier that she's claimed Jillian as her own prey. Yep, this whole time both Priscilla and Caleb were evil werewolves who were faking their friendship with our hero so they could get close enough to eat her. Pretty impressive plot twist since both of them ended up being evil. So we get a pretty cool scene where Jillian tries running away from the monsters while the two werewolves duke it out over who gets to eat her. Yes, yes, consume the human child. While the werewolves have an awesome fight scene, Jillian runs outside of the hotel and takes cover behind some trash cans. The two werewolves follow, but strangely they don't see her obvious hiding place or even sniff her out. Well, remember everyone, as we all know, werewolves have terrible depth perception.
All clear.
However, a third werewolf pops up behind Jillian and drags her off inside of a tool shed to keep her away from the other two predators. Yes, we have a heroic werewolf this time, but if you're confused by that, well, trust me, it's about to get even more confusing right now. The third werewolf saves Jillian and motions her to stay silent. But we hear the other two werewolves, Priscilla and Caleb, coming for the good wolf. We then get the most confusing moment in camera history when we suddenly have a shaky cam spiraling all over the place to imply that the three werewolves are having a violent fight outside of the shed. Not going to lie, this is the worst moment in the entire episode. We hear an epic violent wolf fight going on outside, but since the show refuses to give us an action scene, even though we saw Priscilla and Caleb fighting earlier, we have a shaky cam flying all across the screen to inform the audience that a horrible battle is going on outside while Jillian stays hidden. I know the Haunting Hour doesn't want to show younger viewers any blood and gore, but come on. A savage battle between three werewolves is going on right outside of Jillian's hidey hole, and to inform the audience how cool it is, we instead get this weird shaky cam to scare us. This cheated us out of a really cool moment in the series. Not only that, but even if some of you didn't mind that we don't see the werewolf battle outside, just to hammer in how scary it is right now, this is still ruined by the random shaky cam, rendering everything that happens in the story's climax even more confusing. How is a shaky cam during the climax of the story supposed to make it all the more intense?
Oh, that startled me! That was really startling!
So if you somehow weren't confused by the random film shots, we see Priscilla Wolf almost come inside to finish off Jillian, but she's dragged back outside, where we hear the third werewolf murdering Caleb and Priscilla. Yes, this family show actually had this werewolf murder two villains in cold blood to protect Jillian. We even see their corpses for a few seconds. Dead. So the third werewolf comes into the shed to check on Jillian, where we strangely get a heartfelt moment between the two as they look at each other. Kill Steele! No, that's not what happens. Instead, the werewolf strangely comforts Jillian by returning her silver necklace, even though it's burning his skin. Aw, well isn't that sweet? By the way, if you don't know this, the heroic werewolf is played by the same actor who played Big Yellow back on Mascot. Even then, he was playing tough monsters on this show. So, Jillian and the green-eyed werewolf exchange longing looks as a sign of trust before he runs off into the night. But we then get our twist ending. It was all just a dream. What? What? No, you cannot be for real. Everything that we just saw was all a dream? That makes no sense. Oh, but wait, it's about to make even less sense. Jillian's mother is there to comfort her daughter after completely missing out on all the action while away at her meeting, saying that she now successfully owns the hotel. Oh yay, the mom now owns this empty shack of a hotel out in the middle of nowhere with werewolves populating the forest, and where 2 confirmed deaths have taken place. Truly a happy ending. The mother then quite randomly tells our hero how she appreciates the silver necklace her husband gave to Jillian, since it feels like the spirit of the father is watching over them and protecting Jillian from danger. Yeah, I guess the mother has the force now, considering the next line coming up. While Jillian reads the lovely engraving on the necklace that she's apparently never noticed for months now, her mom also reveals that Jillian has her father's beautiful green eyes. But wait a minute, the werewolf that saved Jillian in her dreams also had green eyes. So the twist ending reveals that the third werewolf was really her father. Yep, the third werewolf was really Jillian's unnamed father, since he didn't actually die in that car crash. He was just attacked by a werewolf and became one himself. The father sent Jillian a silver necklace to keep her safe from other evil werewolves, apparently, as we see when Jillian reads the description on the necklace. Isn't it funny how Papa Werewolf only gave Jillian a silver necklace to ward off werewolves, but didn't care to give one to his own wife? You know, the woman he married, the person responsible for Jillian's safety, and who's about to run a hotel in a dangerous area where werewolves hunt down humans to kill? Well, I guess he didn't love his wife that much to care about her own safety. Also, I know werewolves are weak to silver, but that necklace was but useless this entire time. It didn't ward off the werewolves at all in this story. Wolf Caleb was barely damaged by it, Wolf Priscilla stole it easily, and even Papa Werewolf was able to touch the necklace with only a minor burn on his hand. Yeah, that necklace will definitely keep Jillian safe, Pops. All she has to do is throw it at opponents to get 1% damage in. Truly, that one shard of silver will ward off all your werewolf enemies. We then get a double twist ending, where we find out that the werewolf father was real all along, since he shows up outside watching the nighttime inn to make sure that his family is safe. Wait, now I'm even more confused. So this twist ending where the werewolf dad shows up pretty much confirms that absolutely everything Jillian saw in her dreams happened in real life. I think that the only dream that didn't actually happen in real life was the first one where Jillian foresaw her death by werewolves, since we all see that she's clearly alive. Otherwise, absolutely all the dreams we saw after that were real events and not fake. Jillian almost suffocating, seeing her Papa Werewolf outside, and the death battle between the werewolf trio all actually happened. We also never see Caleb or Priscilla ever again either, so they're both really dead. I'm also going to have to assume that the mother never saw the property damage to the hotel or the werewolf corpses outside the parking lot at all for the sake of this happy ending. Also, this means that right after the werewolf death battle that happened, Jillian just went back to sleep after seeing all that horror and got over a werewolf saving her life. Well, I can see why nobody would stay awake after all that insanity. In the Nightmare Hour version, the dream sequences were much more woven in together and important to the plot. But in this story, it feels like the dreams have no importance at all, and could have been written out entirely because all they did was make a basic plot even more confusing. But hey, now I know why this episode is called Nightmare Inn, because Jillian is always in a nightmare. In short, there was not really a reason to have the dream sequences at all because they only made the plot even more confusing as opposed to building on it. Not to mention that the werewolf dad showing up in the end to confirm that everything we saw in this tale was real makes the dream fake-outs even more meaningless. But the writers don't want us to think about all that madness because we got a happy ending where Jillian finally learns the truth about her father, and Papa Werewolf now knows that his daughter is safe since he ended up killing Caleb and Priscilla himself and returned her silver necklace for future werewolf problems. We finally close out this story with Papa Werewolf giving the inn a final look of goodbye while howling in triumph over his happiness.
You call this a hotel? I'm giving it 1 star.
And that was Nightmare Inn. How does it hold up? Well, it was okay. That's it. Just okay. It has a lot of great moments in it, but the main problems come from the flow of the story. The story gets very confusing to follow at some points. My biggest problems being that the very weird shaky cam jumbling around the fight scene, and all those pointless dream sequences that ultimately meant nothing in the end because mostly everything we see happen was real in the finale. The dreams were meant to throw off the audience, but that might work a little too well, considering that even the climax was revealed to have been a dream. Except just to blow your mind, it wasn't a dream because the father's appearance in the ending is concrete proof that it was all real. Not to mention the proof that Caleb and Jillian do really die in the end. I'm honestly impressed that this episode outright killed off both our main villains, since it does show the strengths of the Haunting Hour. Though one big difference from the book version is that the twist ending reveals that Priscilla is still alive and will continue killing humans at the hotel. It's scary, but not as impressive as this ending, where Jillian is revealed to be linked to the werewolves. I don't really mind that Priscilla is actually dead here, or Caleb's name being changed from James, since these changes didn't make Nightmare end that bad. The story ultimately feels like its own thing, because there were only a few minor connections to the book version, most of which felt like they didn't fit in all that well, considering that the plot was more so about Jillian's family drama over her conquering her nightmares. But yeah, this episode strays away from the book version all the time, not really succeeding as a faithful adaptation, but it's not bad standing on its own feet. Not to be too nitpicky, but it was kind of hard to tell that the monsters the writers were going for here were werewolves. I had to wait until Caleb gazed at the full moon to realize that he and the other monsters were werewolves, since the costumes and makeup didn't give off that impression, at least at first. I guess the werewolf designs they were going for here was originally a Bigby wolf look, but the monsters reminded me of the goblins from Labyrinth a little, or possibly our favorite wolf who owns the channel.
He's got style.
Papa Werewolf was cool and all, and it does feel a lot more powerful that he doesn't speak to his daughter, since we're supposed to get the idea that he's too feral to turn human again. Which makes sense, since he has no way to return to his family without alerting danger. According to the Haunting Hour wiki, it's implied that either Caleb or Priscilla infected the father with the wolf virus, so it's made all the more understanding and satisfying when Papa Werewolf gets his vengeance against the two villains. But what's Papa Werewolf going to do now since he saved his daughter? Can he find a way to change back into a human? Is he permanently stuck this way? How will he survive in his new werewolf life? Well, I guess he'll just have to steal picnic baskets for the rest of his life and become John Tailbane. Sadly, we'll never know much about the father or the extent of his werewolf life, but the main story is focused on Jillian and her life. Just like our kid hero, we're just as clueless about her dad's situation as she is, but the ending is nice, since it implies that he'll be watching her grow up from afar. Jillian as a character wasn't too bad, since she has a lot more personality than both Priscilla and Caleb. Our two main villains definitely do have a creepy vibe going on, but I think there should have been more of an effort to fool us into believing that both of them might have been trustworthy people, instead of making us guess which one was the true villain, only for the surprise twist to reveal that they're both evil. Otherwise, they were okay for manipulative predators, but nothing too mind-blowing. The mother wasn't too bad either, but it does get kind of jarring how distant she gets from her daughter, only for the ending to have her drop in a whole monologue explaining the twist ending to a certain extent. It just feels like a few of her moments were simple exposition at times. Not a bad cast of characters, but it's Jillian and her Papa Werewolf who get all the greatest moments. I give this episode a gold skull. I know a pretty ironic rank considering the whole silver theme going on in this tale, but it was surprisingly decent. It's an okay episode, but it sadly doesn't gain a perfect score because it has a few minor continuity problems holding it back. I know the Haunting Hour likes to make the audience think, but there were a few too many confusing moments that nearly lost us. It has a pretty deep story, some creepy moments scattered here and there, and was still worth the watch. I'd recommend this episode to anyone interested in a story about werewolves, since the plot got so much better when the monsters entered it. Unfortunately, it did not do much with the dream sequences at all, and had some odd decisions thrown in there that backfired against the structure of this tale. Nevertheless, Nightmare Inn is a fairly entertaining episode that'll make you paranoid of the things going bump in the night. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I hope none of you have nightmares tonight.
Wait, so you only got me here for a few cameo lines? That's it, I'm doing my own Halloween-themed videos. Good luck with your haunted ice cream trucks, cat.